Okay.
Okay, welcome to this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. We have had to restart the meeting due to streaming problems. The first item of business was the election of a chair. Sorry, members, could I ask you to nominate the chair again?
Councillor Bolton.
I will second that, if I may.
Thank you. Councillor Bolton, you are now in the chair again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, colleagues and Alison. Good morning to everybody on the meeting. Sorry for the slight delay. So this meeting is being broadcast live, recorded, and will be made available on the Council's YouTube channel. The agenda is available on the Council's website by following the links to Your Council and decision-making, consultations and surveys, then committee agendas and minutes. The quorum for this meeting is 3 members, that's 3 councillors, and all will need to be present at all times. If any subcommittee member or the legal advisor lose connection, we'll pause to allow them to rejoin as soon as possible. Now, to reduce feedback, could everyone mute their microphone while not speaking, please? And after the subcommittee has heard the submission, I'll ask if members have any questions on the submission. Members can also indicate that they wish to speak by using the chat function. Please do not use the chat function to ask questions of officers or members, and remember that all meeting participants on the video call will be able to see what has been entered in the chat. Please keep mobile phones in silent mode or switched off during the meeting. So, as you heard, I'm Councillor Andrew Bolton, and I will now introduce the other participants in the meeting. We have Councillor Noel Hadji-Michael. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
We have Councillor Nicola Nardelli.
Good morning to everybody.
Hello. We have Guy Bishop, legal advisor.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. We have Marcella Basso, the licensing officer.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have the applicants, Victor Garcia and their agent, Manuel Rocha.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, good morning. And there were 7 valid representations from other persons against the application, and we have 2 of those people in attendance this morning. They are Maisie Blackburn and Mark Giles. Good morning to you 2.
Good morning.
Hello. And we also have, as you've seen, Alice of Democratic Services in attendance. So a little bit of housekeeping first of all. We have declarations of interest for the councillors. Does any member of the subcommittee have a pecuniary interest, a non-registrable interest, or other registrable interest to declare? And I don't.
0 from myself.
From me.
Fine, thank you. Can we confirm that the minutes of the meeting held on the 12th of February 2024 are a correct record of what happened then? I think we can.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. I'll sign those at a later date. A bit more on the procedure. The parties have already been notified of the usual procedures for licensing hearings as set out on pages 4 to 6 of the agenda. Paragraph 57 on page 5 of the agenda pack deals with notification of the decision following the subcommittee's deliberations. This will firstly be confirmed by email later today, and full details and reasons will follow within 5 working days. Are there any objections to proceeding on the basis of those procedures? And I don't have any.
No.
No, heads are shaking. So we move on to the hearing itself, and I know Marcella will say something similar, but I'll say this as well. Cafe Rosa, 106A Alexandra Drive, Surbiton, KT5 9AG, and this is an application for a new premises license under the Licensing Act of 2003, Appendix A on page A1 of the agenda. So I now call on Marcella Basso, the licensing officer, to introduce the report on the application, please. Thanks, Marcella.
Thank you very much, Chair. This application for a new premises license relates to Cafe Rosa, 106A Alexandra Drive, Surbiton, KT5 9AG. The application was made on the 3rd of January 2024 by Manuel Rocha of Rocha Consultancy on behalf of Ferosa Feresha de Barros. The application seeks the grant of a new premises license to authorize the sale by retail of alcohol on and off sales Monday to Sunday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Relevant pages of the application form are attached at Annex 1 of the licensing report, and the proposed hours of operation are laid out in Annex 2. I confirm that the applicant has advertised the application by way of a public notice displayed at the premises and in a local newspaper. The application has also been made available on the Council's website for the full consultation period. I confirm that all responsible authorities received a copy of the application. The Metropolitan Police, as the responsible authority for the prevention of crime and disorder licensing objective, and the Council's Environmental Health Noise Pollution Officer, as responsible authority for the prevention of public nuisance licensing objective, initially raised concerns regarding the application. Following further consultation, the applicant has addressed the concerns by making amendments to their operating schedule. These amendments are reflected in the conditions shown in Annex 3 of the report. In light of these amendments, the concerns raised by responsible authorities have been satisfied and no representations were received from responsible authorities. In accordance with the Council's licensing policy, 136 addresses were consulted in writing and informed that an application had been received. 7 valid representations were received from other persons. The representations make reference to matters that relate to all 4 licensing objectives. A copy of the representations is attached at Annex 4, and I can confirm that copies of the representations were forwarded to the applicant and were made available to the licensing subcommittee. A number of representations make reference to the need for a licensed premises. Members will be aware that in making their decision, the need or commercial demand for a premises cannot be taken into consideration as referred to within paragraph 14.19 of the Secretary of State's guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003. A map showing the location of the premises is attached at Annex 5, and photographs of the premises and surrounding area are attached for your information at Annex 6. Following the publication of the report to the licensing subcommittee, one other person contacted the Council's Democratic Services Officer and submitted some additional material in response to a letter that they had received from the applicant. Both the additional material and the letter have been published on the Council's website as late material for this hearing. In considering this application, members, you are required to take into account the Secretary of State's guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, our licensing policy, and the licensing objectives. The Council's licensing policy was reviewed in July 2021, and it includes now some guidelines on licensing and trading hours. These guideline hours are included within Annex 7 of the report. Members, you are asked to determine the application having regard to the representations received and any evidence heard at the hearing in line with the options set out in paragraph 16 of the licensing report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcella. Councillors, do you have any questions for Marcella?
No, thank you.
I think that's 2 no's. I don't either. So thank you very much, Marcella.
Thank you.
So now we move on to the applicant's submission, and I'll call now on the applicants, Victor Garcia and his agent Manuel Roca, to give a summary of the application. Paragraph 47 on page 4 of the agenda pack deals with the length of time that an applicant can speak. And as today we have 2 objectors having registered to speak, the applicants will be accorded up to 10 minutes to present their submission. Alice of Democratic Services will advise you when you have a minute left and when your time is up. So it's over to Mr. Garcia and Mr. Roca to outline their case, as it were. You're quite free, gentlemen, to divide up that 10 minutes as you see fit, but it's over to you now, please. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'll do myself start with that presentation, and then Mr. Victor will say something too. So, dear councillors, the Café Rosa is a family-run business. They've been in the area they've been running the business for 21 years, if I'm not wrong. They serve hot food, breakfast, pastas, panini, salads, snacks, pastries, soft, cold, and hot drinks. The reason we apply for the sale of alcohol is to help our business financially, because as everybody knows, the catering business suffer a lot with increase of the products, decrease of the electricity bills. So in general, it's been a lot. So the business need to do something different to cover that costs and make a profit. What we think is we apply for Lisbon hours from 10 a.m. to 22 hours on and off license. We are not a disco or a pub, or we don't want to transform this business in a wine bar. Alcohol will be sold with food only. We propose conditions to protect the license objectives like CCTV, with memory for 31 days. We have under 25 challenge, refusal books, staff training, signage display saying to the customers to respect the local residents when they leave the premises, no irresponsible promotions, no vertical drinking, table service only, no sale of alcohol to drunk or violent customers, and other measures. We read the neighbors' concerns, and Mr. Ferroz already sent a letter to the license team to be distributed, but regarding children, about noise, we respect that. But this type of business in general, with my experience, I've been doing this for 17 years now, this type of business is not what create problems in terms of noise nuisance, in terms of street drinking. Of course, we are not against off license and supermarkets. Everybody have the right to make a living, but of course, if somebody want to get drunk, they go to a supermarket, they go to off license, maybe with £5 they can buy four beers. It's not the case here. £4, maybe they buy one beer or half a pint with us in the future if the license is granted. So they have concerns about litter. Of course, we run the business professionally. We have an agreement with a company to collect the rubbish weekly. The off sales will be most for home deliveries, not to parks or to street drinking. Without a license, I don't know if the neighbors know that, but without a license, we can say to a customer, oh, can you go across the road? Is the Sainsbury's, buy some wine and bring it here, bring the receipt, and you can drink whatever you want, doesn't matter. So, and that is worse because we don't want that. We want to make our profit. We want to be in control. We don't want that kind of exceptions and say to some business they do, they because of religion, they don't sell alcohol. We need to respect that. And they say to people, oh, go to the supermarket, go to the off license, bring the beer, bring the wine, and drink it inside. We don't want that. We want to make our profit. We want to be in control. So we have some support from neighbors who would like to sit down, have some kind of meal, especially in the summer, outside, have a drink, have a glass of wine. So, and we'll do everything to respect the 4 license objectives. We are a small business, it's easy to control, and we want to have the best relation with the neighbors and the local residents and authorities. So we've been running the business for 21 years, and we'd like to see if health allows us to have another 21 years. I don't know if Mr. Victor want to say something else.
No, I'd just like to add that we have a reputation with the neighbors. We've been here 21 years, never had problems with the neighbors, never had problems with the law. And we don't want to damage that reputation and turn our cafe into a bar or alcohol free of charge, to be available without food. Everything is under control and with food. It's a control measure. We know who is drinking, how they're drinking, and so forth. While on the other off sales, once the alcohol leaves their door, they don't know who's going to drink it. They can go into the parks, they can go anywhere, and it's out of their control. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rocker, do you want to come back on that? You still have plenty of time, but
no, I think I cover, I think, everything we would like to say on that presentation. So for me, I'm happy what was said.
all right, thank
Only
you both.
focus that we are not a bar or a disco or a pub. And what we apply was for reasonable hours from 10 to 10.
Right, thank you very much. Councillors, do you have any questions for the applicants, please? Councillor Hadji Michael.
Thank you, Councillor Bolton. I'm interested in the approach you'll be taking in terms of staff training, in terms of all of your staff, to ensure that they understand their obligations, and also to maintain, for example, the 25 challenge commitment. So I'd be interested to hear from you what is intended.
Yes, so the both staff had been training, so we're waiting for Mrs. Feroza to receive her personal license card. Mr. Vitor was trained too in terms of the license, the sale of alcohol, to protect the license objectives. And the under 25, well, we're going to manage that. So posters will be on display on the main entrance and by the counter, and one on the room. So 3 posters will be displayed. And everybody look under 25, they need to prove they have 18. Also, they need to have a valid ID like passport, driving license, or pass scheme with a holographic stamp. So if they refuse, they should be written down in the refusal book. So is, like I said before, is a small business, is easy to control, and for sure we're going to respect the under 25 challenge. So anybody look under 25, they need to prove they have 18 years old. So signage, staff training. Every 6 months we do a refresher training. That staff training, that refresher is going to be registered and be available for the authorities. So this is start to be a common practice for all the license conditions. And I don't know if this is okay, if you need anything, any additional information. Councillor Newell.
Thank you very much. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Nardelli, do you have anything to ask?
I'm trying to think of something. My question was going to be on the issues of training. I suppose because it's something new, we've got nothing to gauge it on. So sort of the type of clientele you've had there in the past, but you actually stated that there has been no intervention by the police at any time.
With the training, what we do is what they request and change council to authority a little bit. So there is 2 types of training. There is this full personal license training to people get the personal license card. And there is the staff training where the focus is a lighter training, but the focus go on license objectives, license activities, and very important that a lot of business miss is to understand the license conditions, because a lot of license there is conditions, 20, 25, 30 conditions attached, but a lot of people don't know what does that mean, most of it. So one of the objectives to this refresher is to remind people the for license, documents ID, the license objectives, see if they need the TENS, temporary events, when they need to do that, under 25, and sometimes questions. There is some doubts if the kids with 16, 18 years old, they can have a glass of wine or beer with food by the parents, so we need to explain that. So we focus on 10, 12 points, and then training, put the name of the person who trained, need to be somebody competent, and the person who received the training, they sign, and they keep that records on the business. So see if the police arrive, they can ask where is the staff training, what you train, what points you train, and they are happy when they see that.
I suppose one other question I could ask, because it is going to be a slightly different business. So what's the average age, would you say now, of people coming in? Do you get many very young people coming in and and sort of having a sandwich and a juice or something?
I think Mr. Vitor can answer better than me, but for what visits, I visit the coffee shop 4 or 5 times already, and I.
No, it.
But Mr. Vitor can answer
average. Sorry, the average people who come in, it's families.
Okay.
It's the whole family. We don't get young people coming by themselves. Very seldom we get someone come, but if they take away, they buy a sandwich and go. But sitting down and so forth, it's families.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much. I have 1 or 2 questions to ask, and I know that 2 of the objectors will be speaking in a few moments, but I don't particularly want to preempt what they might say, but I think it is important to reflect the content of some of the emails that we've had from people who are opposed to the application. So I'll just run through a few of the main points, and apologies if they later get repeated, but I would like some answers to these, please. For example, the point that opening until 10 o'clock at night when it's not currently open until that time, that's concerning in a residential area. There are fears perhaps that there might be noise or disturbance, loud conversations, increased footfall at that time of night. Email content here making reference to drunkenness, disorderly conduct, litter, which I think you have addressed actually. It's out of keeping with the area. Again, fear of noise, antisocial behavior, and the outside seating. So noise coming from that as well late at night. Could I just ask you to take on board some of those thoughts, please, and let us know, what your response to that is. Thanks.
Yeah. So the question of the litter, I think I answered that already. The question about the drunk people, I would, like I said,
I think he's
socialize.
frozen. Oh, there we go.
To socialize, and we don't serve. The staff will be trained to don't serve drunk people or let them get drunk there, because for the hours we think is reasonable. So we respect the tables and chairs outside hours, and that whatever with alcohol or no alcohol, the problem with the noise always can happen because it's a residential area. Signage will be displayed. They'll ask customers to respect the neighbors with the noise. And with the sitting area outside, as you know, probably the sitting area outside, we use it, 2 months, maybe 3 months a year. The weather, see if the weather allowed, we can use the sitting outside. But see if this was a country like Spain or Portugal, maybe we can have the sitting outside, or Italy, maybe using this 10 months a year or to 11 months. But in this case, we use it 2 or 3 months a year with lucky. But the problem can still exist. But with the training, with the signage, and the way we serve alcohol with food, but it's not attractive for people, to be honest. So people, if they want to get drunk, it's not the kind of atmosphere our business approach. No, they don't feel it's not atmosphere for people get drunk there. We don't let people get drunk there, and most of our customers, they like to drink a coffee or drink a beer to socialize, to have a chat, talk about things, and then off they go. So the sitting outside is not going to be the same as lock every day. And we apply for the sale of alcohol for 10 o'clock. Don't mean that we're going to open like until the 10 o'clock every day. But occasionally we have people who'd like to stay a little bit longer, organize a dinner, stay. Instead we spend money in temporary events, and it's always, we need to submit application, we lose time. At least we know we are covered. So most of the days probably we close earlier. There is no customers, there is no point to be there. But occasionally, see if we have a request to stay a little bit longer, and maybe with a different type of menu, maybe attract people to stay a little bit longer than normal. then we would like to keep our license open.
Fine. Thanks very much. And I don't think there are any other questions from the councillors. So thank you. That concludes that part of the meeting. So we move on to the bit about the responsible authorities. And as referred to in the report, all responsible authorities received a copy of this application. The Metropolitan Police, as the responsible authority for the prevention of crime and disorder, and the council's environmental health noise pollution officer initially raised concerns regarding the application. Following further consultation, the applicant has addressed the concerns by making amendments to the operating schedule, I should say. These amendments are reflected in the conditions shown in Annex 3 of the report. In light of these amendments, the concerns raised by the responsible authorities have been satisfied and no representations were received from the responsible authorities just now. So we move on to the other persons section, and there were 7 valid representations from other persons. The objections are set out on pages A28 to A34 of the agenda reports pack. 2 objectors have registered to speak. They're online with us just now. Paragraph 47 on page 4 of the agenda pack deals with the length of time they can speak, and they each have up to 5 minutes. And Alice of Democratic Services will advise you when you have a minute left and when your time is up. So first, could I call on Maisie Blackburn, please, to outline her case? Thanks.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to reiterate, Councillor Andrew, what you said, but it has to be repeated. I live directly next door at 108. I love having the cafe next door. The seating area is lovely. It's a great community advantage for everybody. But I do strongly object to the hours. Manuel has said that they may close early, and they do close early at the moment. But should the premises change hands, it could become a wine bar. It could be open till 10 at night with people drinking. My bedroom is above that particular premises, and I would not appreciate people drinking at that time of night. I'm happy that the restaurant is there. We've never had any trouble. And for Manuel to say that the seating area is only 3 months a year is not correct. All weathers, it's open. The only day it isn't open, the seating area outside, is a Sunday. And there are people who come and enjoy a coffee, and it's lovely to have that there. It's a nice thing on the parade to have. I ran my business here for 21 years, but I am now retired and my shop is rented out. My main objection is the hours. Till 20, on my form that I received from you, it said from 7 a.m. till 2200 hours, 7 days a week. And I don't think that that is conducive to a residential area such as this. And I would like those considerations to be taken into account. That's all I have to say, really. As I say, I don't object to the restaurant, the cafe. It's lovely to have. It's a great community gathering place. Not very busy ever, but my main concern is if it were to change hands, which is a possibility, and the license was granted till 10 o'clock at night, I do not think that that would be acceptable. And that's really all I have to say on the matter.
Thank you very much. Councillors, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I think Maisie's outlined it very clearly.
Well, I've lived here for 38 years, very happily, ran a lovely business myself. And as I say, I'm now retired. But it is the hours that I greatly object to. If and when it changed hands, which is quite possible in this day and age, I know that other shops around sell alcohol, but the majority of them close at 9. Sainsbury's opposite has created more noise, but it's something we have to live with. But as I live completely next door to Cafe Rosa, my objection mainly is the hours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hadji Michael, did you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say thank you to Maisie for such a clear and very candid representation. It's very, very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, my sentiments exactly. Thank you very much. So thank you, Maisie, for coming along. So I now call on the other objector present, please, who is Mark Giles. So Mr. Giles, again, you have up to 5 minutes, please, to put your case. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Well, actually, Maisie's virtually stole my thunder, if that's the right word, which would save time. But yes, it's basically the hours. At the moment, I just live sort of slightly around, although from my bedroom window, I can see the chairs out there and what have you. If Rosa is going to be open until 10 o'clock, that will now add to the Sainsbury's noise. We've got a fish and chip shop over the road. We've got a tutorial place. And of course, that means that there's very little respite now. The parade is quite busy and the traffic and everything else throughout the day. And it's just nice to have a bit of peace. Whilst I don't... under Rosa, I don't doubt that they will try their best to keep noise and everything else down. I can't really see if people are enjoying themselves, whether they would go out and say, do you mind keeping the noise down and all that. So basically, it is like Maisie, is the hours. There will be a little bit of disturbance. That won't be helped, unfortunately, no matter what people say. And yes, passing on the license to maybe a new customer would also be an issue, as we've had 1 or 2 turned down. So this is obviously an area now where people want to put coffee shops and restaurants and bits and bobs around as the parade, as far as shops are that slowly withers. So that's my concern. Hopefully it makes sense. I've got a bit of a cold, so it's my brain's not working exactly 100%, but basically the hours is the issue with me. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillors, do you have any questions for Mr. Giles?
No, I don't have any questions either. I think the points have been well pointed out by both objectors.
Yeah, thank you. And I don't either. So thanks very much to Maisie and Mark for coming along. We move on to the section now. It's where the applicant gets the chance to make a closing statement. So would Mr. Garcia, Mr. Roca like to make a closing statement to hopefully hoover up some of what Maisie and Mark have said, particularly about the issue, although of course it's not entirely in your hands necessarily, but the issue of their worry about the application, the premises changing hands at some later date.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate what Mrs. Maisie and Mr. Mark says. With regarding changing hands, there is a couple of steps. I'm not sure if they are aware. So when somebody a company does a license transfer for a new company, the police have something to say, because the police gonna check the consultation, gonna check the company, gonna check who's gonna be the new owner, the new DPS, and maybe they can refuse that application. See if they accept that application for the new owners, there is always a chance of a license review. So see if the like in all business. So see if the business don't run the place professionally and don't protect the license objectives, especially problems with noise, nuisance, crime and disorder. There is a chance of a license review. proposed by the neighbors or by the authorities, and the business can lose the license. Then, so there is always these steps after the change of hands if that happen. But so this is the way Miss Marcella is here. She can confirm with me if everything is okay with this, what I said. And of course, like Miss Maisie said, it's true the tables and chairs are outside, but don't mean they are in use, because when it's raining, when it's cold, the tables maybe are there outside, but nobody gonna sit there. When I mentioned that we're gonna use this maybe a couple of months a year, is use it with pleasure, not to use it as they try to get a cold or something like that. And I think that it's good for the community if the business keep open, and the fact this business with alcohol license, maybe they can be open, they can carry on doing their job, make some money to pay the expenses, because what we see now, and I think it's bad for the community, and I live near Kingston, so many business closing down, and that is terrible for the community, it's terrible for the council, it's terrible it's less income in terms of business rates, more unemployment be problems with depression, and depression be problems with drugs, and we know the history, because we know this will gonna happen, and we need to do something. And so the business need to work with the community and authorities with the community and the business. So all together, maybe we can create something special and make everybody happy. So, and I think Mr. Victor and the wife is what they want to do. Of course, changing hands can one day happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but it's not so a simple process. The police have a word to say. They can check the new applicants if they have problems or may problems with the DPS in other places. Maybe they refuse, and then see if they approve and they don't run the place professionally. They can always be under a license review and take the license away. So in terms of opening and closing hours, as if the council will be happy. I spoke with Mr. Victor, and sitting outside, see if they give us a license to sitting outside selling alcohol until 9 o'clock at night instead of 10, keep the 10 o'clock inside, well, we'll be happy. So, but this is for the, we say about staff training, signage, we want under 25 challenge, staff refresher training. We put already and agree with authorities a few measures to protect the license objectives. And if we have the sitting area outside until 9 o'clock at night, I think is reasonable. And then inside 10 o'clock, and that I think is reasonable too. And with that, I finish my statement. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, and thanks to everyone for their contributions. So we're just about at the end of the meeting now. So I would say that the subcommittee will now withdraw to make its decision in a different sort of meeting online room. That's the 3 councillors and officers. The decision will be confirmed to all parties by email, as I said before, later today, and the full decision notice with reasons will then be sent to all parties within 5 working days. So please, can members of the subcommittee reconvene in the decision-making chat room as soon as possible, please, and we'll come to our decision. So thank you all very much indeed for attending. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.